Don't just sit them down hours and hours writing and writing. There are other things they can do, and there are other ways you can present this as evidences for learning engagement happening in your classroom. Now, I put this cloud storage in there as also, instead of just thinking everything they can present for as evidence for their learning engagement is just the notes. If you have that opportunity in your school, if you use technology so much, you can have cloud storages where they can keep things. I mean, you can even compartmentalize some of these cloud storages, as I'm aware. You can buy them as a school and have all the students have their own storage spaces. Even if you just open Google accounts for everybody, I'm sure you know they have a certain amount of a space in their Google Drive where they can put things. Because somebody will think, okay, if we do video, we do audio. So what is going to happen? Keep encourage your children to upload all these things. You have internet access in your school, so be more creative and flexible in keeping evidences of learning engagement. So let all the Google accounts that you have created for the students or whatever account you've created for them, let it be linked to some storage devices or cloud storages or whatever, where they can keep evidences of things that they were doing in their lessons, their projects. These are things that are useful for them to review or to present much later as evidences for learning. Okay, I'm getting close to the end, I'm sure. No, even checking my time again. Okay, I've been talking about technology. Take advantage of available technology. What we've found over the years, and we've talked about that several times, I'm sure Mr. Smith is an expert really talking about that. In most schools where technology is provided for them to enhance and improve learning, most of the time they still do the same traditional things they were doing without technology, even with the technology. I don't think that is right. Whichever technology that is available to you, if you have. For those who do not have that yet, and I'm sure that wouldn't be so much now, private schools, except for maybe public schools, government schools. But for even for government schools are getting better with that. For private schools, I know most of us have improved now with this, making sure we have devices. It may be laptop, it may be iPad, whatever it is that we have for the student to use. Let's learn more. Let's find out more about opportunities available for students, to keep notes, to take notes in our lessons without having to sit down hours upon hours and writing in every lessons, and it's just become a writing spree, and they're like stenographers all the time writing, and they get bored with the lesson. So let's make use of available apps, with the technology that we're using in our schools. E-books are available that they can use, that they can interact with. There's so many of them. Make inquiries, find out. They're available, and you can use them, link them with your e-learning platform. Most schools now, even by the reason of COVID-19 experience that we had, most schools have e-learning platforms now. Don't just keep those e-learning platforms for when students are on holidays or when they are not available in school. Learn how to use them more. Moodle is what is the LMS, is a learning management system that is being used by most e-learning platforms now. Go learn about how to write Moodle lessons. I'm sure most of the people listening are good with the Moodle lessons and all of that. But don't just learn them and keep. Learn them to help to drive your lessons and improve your lessons. Don't get this mindset of I'm tired of all this technology. Let's go back and do things the way we used to do them. No. Think every time about how to just not just improve, but to sustain the improvement so that if we're convinced about the usefulness of whatever we're using, if there are problems around them, let's look at how to solve the problem and keep helping our children to learn better. I brought all these examples. If you go online, you can learn about them. Google Doc is not something strange to some of. In fact, this collaborative learning thing, you can use most of these digital apps to do collaborative learning. If you create a Google Doc and share, even amongst yourself as teachers, you can collaborate and develop documents together. So in lessons, if you have devices, your children can be writing essays, writing books, writing materials, developing materials together in lessons with these technology. So you may need to find out more how all this technology can help, all these apps, all these softwares can help in your lessons. And the good thing about some of them, by a good number of them, they are free. They are available just there. It's just you being able to study, find out, get trained on how to use them, bring them into your classroom, try and improve on the use of them, and see how they get your students to love your lesson more, because you break away from this boring lessons and sitting down endlessly to write. I'll keep referring to that. I'm very close to the end now. Now, lastly, okay, this is um, about the last one. I think I still have just one more. Tip 7, be conscious of your learner's capability and difficulties. I asked one last question during the reflection I brought up earlier. Can all learners take and keep good notes from lessons? Can. Some learners will just not be able to do it. We know there are special education needs. They are real. You have them. Sometimes we deny these things. We some students, we just deal with them, we separate them, we react to them, all because we feel they are not keeping their notes together, they're not tidy. Some children will just not be able to keep these volumes of notes, really. Now, the question is, do we then leave them and allow them because they cannot do it? They are not doing it not because they are lazy. They are not doing it not because they cannot do it. We are not all the same. And talking about learners' readiness, you will see that in some schools, the amount of note that they expect to write and the level of skill that they even expect children to be able to display to keep this note and write this note is even higher than in junior school, than even in university, than even in senior school, all in the name of, yes, we are getting them ready. Some school even take pride in being a note writing school. Yes, they know us for writing a lot of notes without paying attention to the difficulties that the children may be experiencing in getting this. Why don't we then explore some of the things that we mentioned earlier? Why don't we then think of how to put together lessons, individual teachers, even as a school, that will help the children to explore other opportunities, other areas of their other skill set that they may have, instead of just focusing on them sitting there. It's been established. We've talked about it in the first section. It was clear that yes, writing of notes, yes, can improve learning, but not greatly. So it's not like it is useless, but it is not the only way to enhance learning. So what we're saying and what we're pleading is, let's be more creative and allow other ways of improving learning, of keeping evidences of learning. Let's allow them in our classroom. The society may not go along with us immediately, but one at a time, a teacher at a time, a school at a time, a parent at a time, we can begin to shift the mindset that we have on keeping voluminous notes that at the end of the day, I've heard teachers, even parents talk to me and say, in my days, I remember our biology teacher used to be our biology notes used to be very big, and they take pride in them. The question would be, how much of that note did you actually read then, or did you go back to? Were you not just focused on just writing and filling the pages for the sake of presenting them to teachers? Do you really give attention to reviewing? And then if it is about reviewing, let's go back to what I said earlier. Do they need to write it down with their hands to be able to review? There are other ways of reviewing. They can review their textbooks. They can review other materials that they've put in their portfolio. They can review their group tasks. They can review almost every other things that they do in their classroom. And the review will be more effective if it involves something that they've been engaged in. I think lastly, this is where I'm stopping. We're pleading again. We may have touched some controversial areas or things that you don't entirely agree with. It's all right. Let's go back to our schools and begin to continue this engagement, this discussion. We promise also that on our LinkedIn page, our Facebook page, if you're not there, you can check the flyer for this training. You'll be able to get the link of how to get yourself also registered there. We can continue all this discussion, but we're just saying, let's be open. Let's be receptive to all this changes and all these things that we're talking about. It is not like in all schools, it's the same thing. On the extreme, you will find schools where a high percentage of teachers are just going in to either dictate or write things on the board, and children are just busy writing. And on this other extreme, you will find schools where children are practically writing almost nothing. Anything that they need to keep are kept in by other means, but children are involved in collaborative learning engagement with themselves, lessons where they contribute, they are active there, and if they're going to write something down, they are generative materials that they're going to produce in their lesson. We have these two extremes. So I don't know wherever you find yourself as a teacher or as schools, let's continue to engage with ourselves to be able to come to a point where our learners will get more from our lessons. That's why I hand with this quote. The more valuable resource that all teachers have is each other. Without collaboration, our growth is limited. So, to our own perspective, Robert John Mehan, meaning if we do not collaborate and work with one another and help one another to understand some of these concepts, the only thing we'll keep doing is what we feel is right. So, but these two sections, I want to believe that we'll be able to raise questions, even if we cannot answer all, raise questions that you can come together at your school level or meet with people, or we can even continue on the ILTN platform, questions that we can continue to engage with that will help our students to be more inspired and get improved with their learning. Thank you very much. Mrs. Omezwe.
Wow, many thanks, Mr. Thomas. For teachers, when you tell a teacher to speak for 10 minutes, the teacher speaks for 15 minutes. Thank you very much. You took us on a journey. I like the bit where you differentiated between note-taking and note copying. It's quite good to clear things up. And also the activity-based learning. Whoa, it's for me is the bedrock of any active lesson, because instead of making these children copy notes, copious notes, large quantity of notes, volumes of notes from the projector or the whiteboard. Activity-based learning, we should put activities, then put those strategies that you've just told us about. I can never forget when I was in high school, I didn't like biology, but the only thing I can remember in biology was that one time I had to look through the microscope to see one of these microscopic organisms. It still sticks, and it made me. I won't forget that. That's activity-based learning. And of course, the teacher must have given us notes on microscopic organisms, which, if you ask me, I can't even remember any. But I still remember that fact that I looked into a microscope and I saw what the teacher, what I used to see in the textbooks live through a microscope. Okay, so thank you. We have we're running short of time. In fact, we pressed for time at this moment. So I will go back to David Oluwadara's question. I think your tips on slide 7, your slide 7 and 6 and 7 slides took care of his question. He's asking that students have online platforms. Is this a good develop? I think your tips there answered those questions. Then Mrs. Thomas made a contribution. She said she told a student recently to reduce the size of her handwriting. And the student said she had to write like that to keep up speed. So the child was actually struggling to write. So in order to keep up speed before the slides would be changed. Okay, let me go now to more questions. Mr. Lawal Ibrahim here is saying, even if they're not going to write the same thing completely, they must write the correct and acceptable points. Okay, we all agree. The next question here is from Abubakar Wahab. He's saying, can a teacher make notes available in printed format instead of doing everything together?
Yes. The only thing with that is the note that you are printing out, where are you getting it from? Is it not from the textbook? If it is not, if it's an additional supplement content to whatever they have in their personal textbook, great, it's all right. But the question is, will they read? So why don't you think of it this way? While you're trying to do that, bring it to class as a worksheet. If you bring the note, omit some points there. After they've gone through it, give it to them to fill in the spaces. And while they're doing that, probably individually or as a group, they would think, they would generate something and put there. that will force them to go through what you have written in a way that they will be thinking